Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Studio D's YouTube channel. If you don't know me, my name is Kate, and I'm the clinic director here at Studio D. You definitely probably 100% should know me because I'm sure you've all been following along with our discussion in July. And if you haven't, I would really suggest that you guys go back and check out our past videos and our past discussion that we started in July, where we kind of laid out the platform of Studio D and all the cool stuff we're working on right now. So before you continue this video, please click above on our link and go back and follow the discussion from the very beginning, because today what we're actually getting into is what we're going to be talking about for August, which is curated content. And so this is one of the videos that we got into in July, and we had a lot of people asking us to dig into this more. They were wanting some more specifics, and they just really liked the concept. And so what we thought we'd do is, when we looked at all the cool stuff we could talk about with curated content, we were like, you know what? We just have to give it its own month. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And for the rest of August is digging into that curated content. And so today I'm just going to kind of lay out the landscape of what we're going to be talking about and give you guys a little preview of what to expect. So let's dive into it, guys. So what we've talked about in July is curated content from your perspective. So what's important to you as a client, as a member who has worked with Studio D or maybe will work with Studio D in the future, and the values that you guys really would feel when it comes to curated content. So that's that your exercises or your rehab program is specific to you and working towards your goals. That's the stuff that we talked about with our platform and making sure that you guys can access your health and wellness tools from anywhere that life might take you, to your professional team that's talking and making sure that we're adapting your plan as you go through life, to your lifestyle. These are all the things that we talked about in July. And since I know you went back and watched all the videos, you should be all caught up. So those are all the priorities that we think of for you and your life. But what we thought we'd do today is flip the coin and talk about what curated content looks like from our point of view. So us as a studio, us as a clinic, how do we approach curated content? What does that mean for us as professionals coming into this game as a clinic that's decided that curated content is of the utmost importance to us and one of our primary values when working with our clients? And so what that looks like is, I bet you guys don't know that we work with an incredible, diverse group of people, way bigger than you might expect. We work with everybody from, just people that are working on their health goals that we've talked about a lot in these last videos, to athletes, to, adventure enthusiasts, to corporate lifestyle, to, people that have had big catastrophic injuries in their life, to sports teams, to athletes. Like, we work with such a diverse group of people that there is no possible way we could treat you all the same. We've talked about this. We don't do that stuff. So one of the ways that we have to approach this is we actually have to break down all the people that we work with into kind of smaller populations or profiles that we can kind of assess and look at. And so what we do is we've broken down all the different types of people that we work with into these groups. And we're going to dive into these in August. That's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be looking at each one of these profiles, we'll call them, of people that we work with and how we as a clinic need to approach that group of people to make sure that when we get to the table, everything is already from a curated mindset before we even start talking to you. And so, these profiles are, we've identified as, people with injuries that are doing rehab, acute or long-term, people with chronic pain or chronic conditions, people that are just working on their fitness goals or their health goals, maybe people that are working on weight management, weight loss or weight gain, doesn't matter, all the same, athletes or teams, and then corporations or people that have a corporate job or a white-collar job. All of these profiles, all of these groups of people, we need to address differently. And so one of the first things that we do is we sit down as a group of professionals, and we like to make basically a risk mitigation profile. So that's what the terminology we use. And that is looking at ahead at, what speed bumps are we going to hit? What holes, what big mountains, what are the big obstacles going to be for that population of people? and addressing those and brainstorming and talking about those before we ever need to come into contact with those people. But before we have you walk through the door, we've already met as a team. We've already thought about what are the things maybe that you're going to be dealing with. Because if we take, for example, somebody with a white collar job, somebody that's sitting at a desk all day, we work with lots of them. You're sitting at a desk all day, you have all these different elements of your life. Maybe you go to work and you sit at your desk and you get home and you don't always have the time. Maybe you have kids or animals or dogs, whatever. Your risks that you have during the day or the bumps that you're going to hit, they are things that need to be considered from day one, not 3 months down the road after working with us, but right from the beginning. The minute you walk in, we know that, posture and, you sitting at a desk really is going to be a huge risk factor for you and all the issues that you're dealing with. And I can tell you, as somebody that has never really had a job where I sit at a desk all day, and now since COVID, I sit at a desk all day long, that this is the secret pandemic of our world is sitting at a desk. It's awful. It's horrible. I have never quite appreciated it like I do now. So that's something that we want to address right from the get-go. And those types of goals those are long-term goals. And so we need to start working on them from day one and managing them within your job. We can't just ask you to stop doing your job. So, those types of assessments and foresight, looking ahead of the curve, looking at what you're going to be coming in with so that we can already be with you to make those goals, to make you the most successful, and to get you on that path right from the day one, not finding out these issues or starting to tackle something that's a fundamental part of your life 3 months down the road. This is also something that we do with teams. And I mean, this is a little bit easier to quantify the risk mitigation. When we talk about risk mitigation, when you think about it from a team environment, it's a lot easy to conceptualize. So we work with an amazing curling team in Calgary. And so what we do for them is we look at the sport, the curling, and we look at what injuries or what speed bumps or what plateaus in training they might encounter within their season. And so what we do with teams or athletes is we go and we look at the sport, we look at the risks, we look at where we feel like there can be basically preventative measures. How can we come at this from the head instead of playing catch up? And so what we do with teams is we go in and we go into their practice and we work with their teams and their coaches, and we try to make implemented change right in the environment that they're in their training environment, to try to mitigate any risks factors like injuries. And that way we can try to stop things before they happen, before we're playing catch up, before we're doing that, rehab, etc. And so that's something that we do with teams. And it's really easy for you guys to conceptualize what that means for a team. We go in, we make an intervention in practice, and that might allow us to mitigate a risk or an injury down the road. It's a lot harder to think about that in your life, but it's exactly the same. If we can go in and look at your health and your life, maybe we can prevent, a burnout at your job, or maybe getting sick or an illness down the road. That's a huge thing for corporations, is the burnout of their employees and the sick days and, the health aspects that happens within a career, which is a really long time. So even though it's a little harder to think about that kind of preemptive, preventative thought process in your own personal life, that's a huge aspect of what we do from this side of the coin in approaching what curated content means for you. So the next thing that we do after kind of the risk mitigation, looking at those aspects, is we want to look at, what tools are we bringing to the table, and what tools do you have that we can optimize? So from our side of the table, that really leads into that really diverse, really talented team of professionals. And we've talked about that in some of our other videos, that we're very careful about who we bring into our team, that we want like-minded people that are all working together. And that team approach that we've talked lots about, you cannot have that team approach unless you have the right type of practitioners that are willing to collaborate and talk and change and adapt, because that's just how complicated everybody's lives are. It constantly needs to be adapting. So that's a huge component of our investment in the biggest tool we can bring forward, is the people and the team that you're going to work with. And we're still working on that. We're still adding to our team and making sure that no matter what you walk through the door with, that we have a team of people that can work with you. And if we don't have somebody that can work with you on that point, then we are reaching out, building relationships, and hopefully we have a referral that we can send you on. The other aspect of that is the tools that you have, that you're bringing to the table. And so an example of that would be like your benefit package. So, you have this, most people, not everybody, but have this benefit package. And I don't know about you, but I have a benefit package as well. And I rarely use it. And I definitely don't fully understand every aspect of it, which is kind of funny because I do this for a living. And at Studio D, we've added the ability for people to do analysis of their benefits. So I read people's benefits all the time, but I hate dealing with my own. And so I totally understand why people don't fully, invest the time and energy into understanding their benefits fully. And that's something that's a huge barrier that people have talked to us about. I don't understand my benefits. I don't know how to use them properly. The claiming, it's hard, it's complicated. I don't understand. So we actually added that as a service that we do at Studio D. So we take people's benefit packages, we do an analysis, and we make sure that we're using that properly. So, if you have benefits for X, Y, and Z, that we're not trying to use these other variables over here first. Let's use what you have to the best capability, because that's going to be one of the biggest tools in getting you to where you're going. Another kind of area to look at tools and resources, and something that we want to look at right from the get-go in an aspect of a tool that you might not have. And that is looking at what do you have access to? So Studio D now works with people really all the way across Canada. We even have some people outside of Canada that we work with. And that's absolutely amazing and so exciting for me as a clinic director to see us expand and get to work with people from all over the place. But what comes with that is really understanding and knowing that everybody's going to have their different resources that they have access to. And that's one of the most exciting parts about going digital and having our digital platform here at Studio D is that we can really help people who don't have those resources. So, for example, if I am working with somebody in a tiny, small town that maybe they don't have this wild spectrum of practitioners that we can tap into, they might even have those benefits on their package, but they might not have those professionals in their small town. Most small towns usually have massage, physio, maybe even a chiropractor, but they might not have, an athletic therapist like me, or an osteo, or an acupuncturist, or a nutritionist, or a naturopath. And so, first being able to access and figure out what people have access to, but also understanding that, one of the things that we can bring to the table, one of the tools that we can bring to the table is allowing people from small towns like that don't necessarily have that resource to access, top of the line professionals that not only are going to work with them from their remote town, but also in that team that we've talked about as being so, so, so important. So, there's lots more tools that we're going to get into, and we're going to dive into all the specifics, but I just want to give you guys a couple examples of the tools that we're looking at from our perspective and optimizing the tools that you already have. So, that kind of goes over for you guys the three biggest steps that we look at when we're bringing a curated mindset to the table. And we're going to dive into those profiles that I mentioned at the beginning of the video in detail and in earnest. And, I bet you listening, watching this right now, you're going to fall into one of those profiles, and we're going to dig into that for you. But I really suggest that you guys watch all the different profiles, because there might be something that you learn, or maybe you'll learn something for somebody else, or, you might just relate to something that's said in a different video. So I highly suggest that you follow along with us in August as we dig deep into curated content and what that means from all the different aspects. So please don't forget to subscribe so that you know all the videos that pop up, and like and comment below if you have some discussion points that you want to bring into it. So we'd love to start the discussion off from day one. So right today, we'd love to start that. And if there's something that you're hoping to see in August, please shoot us a comment below. We'll make sure we get that in there. Either we've already planned for it and we're way ahead of you, or if we haven't addressed it, we'll make sure that we address it in one of our coming videos. So with that being said, I will see you guys next Tuesday, and I'm really excited to dive into our first profile. So have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you next week.